2024 has been the absolute best year for gamers ever. Now, it seems really terrible right now with, a lot of terrible games coming out of the AAA studios. But something I've covered since the beginning of the year is how many layoffs have happened at these companies and how many entire DEI departments have been utterly dismantled in hopes of trying to fix these companies where they can produce games that give you a profitable return. We've seen it with Sweet Baby Inc. and every other type of organization that is just pure activism based on enforcing DEI. And with that not working and these companies losing hundreds of millions of dollars each, if not billions of dollars over the last 9 months, now the CEOs are just mocking them and laughing at them for being laid off. And I think it's the most incredible thing I've ever seen. But before we get into the article, guys, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and share this one out so I can get back in the algorithm for whatever reason YouTube decided they hate me. Probably my coverage on all this stuff. Anywho, let's go back to the topic at hand here. So yes, we have watched Concord get obliterated, a almost $300 million game with 8 years of production time, get absolutely destroyed and being taken off the shelves in less than 2 weeks after its initial release. We've seen Sweet Baby Inc. get utterly destroyed. We've got other activist organizations like Take This begging for $80,000 just to keep the doors open. These companies are failing. We've watched Ubisoft go from $80 a share to $13 a share. And I think the companies are starting to wake up, at least just a little bit, at least just a tiny, tiny fraction. Enough that the former CEO of Sony would say to all those that got laid off, you should go drive for Uber. What an absolute giga chat. And this on the heels of Sony releasing the new PS5 Pro with a whopping $700 price tag so they can try and recoup some of the losses from all the games they've tried to publish that have been abject disasters. So here we go. Former Sony executive Chris Deering, who was the president of Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, shared that he does not believe the recent layoffs across the various video game developers are the result of corporate greed. On top of that, he suggests laid off employees find a way to make ends meet by driving for Uber or going to the beach. Like, okay, he kind of sounds out of touch, but it's kind of based. He's like, well, go drive for Uber. And let's not pretend like these people weren't laid off because they made terrible games and because they're like, yes, we'll totally make a DEI game. It'll be fantastic. Everybody loves DEI. Fast forward to we don't even have 1,000 players playing our AAA game that's cost 8 years and hundreds of millions of dollars to make. In an interview on the My Perfect Console with Simon Parkin podcast, Deering was asked by Parkin, I'm sure you're aware it's been a tough year for workers in the game industry with about 20,000 layoffs in the last year or so. I think it's fair to say there's a bit of frustration with video game executives at Microsoft, at Sony, wherever they are, who have been closing some smaller studios in order to funnel those resources into larger projects. It seems that sort of prioritizing shareholders over nourishing a creative, diverse medium. I think you probably have more understanding than most of us about some of the pressure that his decision makers are under. But I suppose, how could you answer that accusation? Some of these individuals are putting greed in front of creativity. Which, yeah, that's a loaded question right there. That entire thing is loaded as fuck. Because all of these studios that are being shut down haven't made good games that have sold anything. They've all been disasters. They've all lost money. They've all cost the companies money because they did try and go for creativity and taking your DEI blackmail. And what did they get out of it? Nothing. They got losses. So why would they keep nourishing your creativity when nobody actually wants to buy it? But anyway, he goes on to respond, well, there's always going to be some greedy people and exploitative people, but there is a passion in the game industry that goes beyond just business and people and its way of life. And I don't think that console people in particular are that greedy. Maybe Nintendo was in some ways, but they still had a great relationship with their end users. Yes, yes, they did. Because regardless of all the terrible things Nintendo has done, they have not forced DEI into their games. Well, okay, at least Nintendo Japan. Nintendo America is absolutely trying to do that, and they're not succeeding very well at it. What happened is you had the pandemic, people are sequestered in their living rooms or bedrooms, and the industry took off in a huge way, and it got oversaturated, and it's going through a deflammatory period, just like those consoles did when they were having those long turnaround time minimum order quantities. I mean, that's part of it. Like, I get what he's saying. A lot of people went to video games because they couldn't or wouldn't leave their house. But we're talking about 3 years ago now. That's been over for a while. So I'm going to say that's a cope. So he then goes on to say it's painful. I don't think it's greed. I think it's just an over exuberance that was kindled and fueled by the knock-on effect of the pandemic and the supply chain restrictions that followed. I don't think it's fair to say that the resulting layoffs have been greed. No, it's absolutely not. Like, these are publicly traded companies who have lost their stock prices, whose stock is tanking. And the only thing they can do is be like, well, what did we do over the last couple of years? Oh, we hired all these DEI companies. What are people saying about our games? What are the reviews? The games are terrible. The graphics are terrible. They run poorly, and they don't like the DEI. Well, start laying off those companies. Get rid of them. They're obviously not working. And I think part of that is, what was that? What's that cute little robot game that just came out for Sony? It has like no DEI, and it's like one of Sony's best rated games right now. And it's literally just the cute little robot running around doing stupid stuff. Yeah, I wish I could remember. I really want to remember the name of this game now. Astro Playroom. Astro's Playroom. Like, it's quite literally just a stupid little robot game for Sony. And it's doing phenomenally well and doing better than the woke DEI stuff. It's not hard to figure out. People would rather play that than look at this disgusting stuff. Like, nobody wanted this. And we proved that nobody wanted it. And as far as the person saying it's only been 20,000 layoffs, you can go back over the last 9 months where we're closer to over 100,000 layoffs in the gaming industry alone. You start combining that with Microsoft and every other IT company, every computer company, and we're looking at hundreds of thousands of people laid off because they hired all these people for DEI jobs. And those jobs don't produce income. They don't produce anything that anybody wants. So do I think Chris Deering is actually base? Of course not. It was a funny thing. And it's kind of a boomer out of touch meme, but it is accidentally based. The same way the Barbie movie was accidentally based. It was supposed to be feminist propaganda, but it was accidentally based because, we have the Chemvolution. So no, I don't think this dude is Uber based. I think it's utterly hilarious because instead of the, let them eat cake, we have let them drive an Uber, which is totally meme worthy in itself. But I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, guys. While you're there, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share this one out. Until the next one, guys, be easy like sleazy.